A cat walked into the fanciest restaurant in town, gave a completely made up name at the front desk, and somehow pulled it off. But that's just the beginning of what happened today. Welcome to the world of Kitty. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe because you do not want to miss what's coming next. Kitty picks up the phone. There's a restaurant, a fancy one, the kind with real forks and spoons. Kitty. There's a pause on the other end of the line. A long one. Pursworth. Of course. Kitty hangs up, turns to the camera, and gives the most composed nod imaginable. Smooth. Very smooth. At the restaurant, the host looks up from the book. Yes. Ah, yes. And just like that, Kitty is in, walking through the fanciest room in town, past the candles, past the white tablecloths, past all the very serious-looking guests. Finally, the table. The dream. It's happening. Kitty sits down. A young server arrives, clearly brand new, holding menus, forks, and spoons. Here are your menus. And also, your forks. Kitty nods solemnly. What would you like to order? The server hesitates. Back in the kitchen, absolute chaos. The chef, we'll call him Chef Whiskers, is in the middle of something that cannot be interrupted. Chef. Chef Whiskers turns slowly. His eyes say everything. Then his mouth says one word. Just one word. And the server walks back out to the table looking like they've seen things they can never unsee. Puree of porkies. Kitty blinks. Puree of porkies. Now, before we go any further, and trust me, you want to keep watching, because what happens in this kitchen later is something no one saw coming. We need to know something very important. What is your go-to order at a fancy restaurant? Drop it in the comments right now.
Kitty wants to know. The whole family wants to know. Because today, every single meal matters. Meanwhile, back at the family home, the whole gang is in the kitchen. Mama Cat, let's call her Clementine, is trying to make an omelet. Papa Cat, that's Cosmo, is keeping an eye on the little ones, Tiny Pip and slightly less tiny Marble. Marble disappears, returns holding something approximately bowl-shaped. Cosmo is already cracking eggs.
Let's consider this.
I'm hungry. Nobody ordered a Supreme. Nobody knows what a Supreme is, and yet somehow a Supreme is what this family is making now. Across town, something else is happening. Something even more unexpected. There's a phone. It's ringing. A restaurant picks up.
Sure.
A pause. Grandpa Cat, you don't phone the restaurant? Grandpa Cat, the family calls him Gramps, though his full name is Reginald, looks at the phone like it has personally wronged him. The app. Right. I've got it. Now, what kind of restaurant are you? Are you Italian?
We're everything. You can order a pizza, a burrito.
Another pause. Longer this time. Gramps lets out a long breath. Anything I want. This is completely true, and nobody can explain why. There's a shuffling sound, some tapping, some more shuffling.
Great.
Silence. Love curried sausages. And you know what? He's not wrong. While the order is being sorted, Gramps mentions completely out of nowhere that he once dreamed he was a fruit bat.
The dream? No.
Well, Gramps nods proudly. Some dreams don't come true. This family accepts that. Stay with us, because what happens when Pip actually becomes a fruit bat? Yes, you heard that right. Is something we need to talk about right now. Earlier in the day, Pip had made a very specific request. Something about fruit bats. Cosmo had nodded along with the calm confidence of a father who has no idea what he has agreed to. Dad. Cosmo looks up. Pip is standing at the edge of the garden, arms stretched wide, eyes full of wonder. We were flying. Cosmo chuckles. Did you enjoy it? Pip considers the question very carefully. It's good. This is a completely normal morning in the Pursworth household. Inside, Clementine is carrying something across the kitchen. Marble rushes over immediately. Marble, help. No, it's okay, sweetheart. I'm almost... Crash. It's okay. No, I can do it. I'll get the paper towels. I'll start the omelet. And so 3 cats stand in a kitchen, all trying to help at exactly the same time, none of them actually helping, and all of them meaning well. This is the most real thing that has ever happened. Somewhere in the back garden, a small operation is underway. Marble has decided today is the day for mud. The jar, the hose, the very serious look of concentration. Marble? No answer. Hi, Marble? Still nothing. Marble figures it out. The mud flows. The jar fills. Everything is going exactly according to plan. Then comes the voice from upstairs. Marble? I'm trying. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm sad. Water. Everywhere. So much water. And mud. So much mud. But the jar is full. Mission accomplished. Do not go anywhere, because what Marble does with that mud next is going to determine the outcome of an entire afternoon. And trust us, you are not prepared. Pip has a financial matter that needs to be discussed. Dad. Cosmo doesn't look up. I'm starting to get followed around. No. Pip absorbs this. Dad. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm sad. I'm chasing my tail. I'm losing control. I'm sleeping. I'm waking up. I'm walking. I'm playing. I'm sleeping again. I'm dreaming. I'm dying. I'm not dying. I'm moving. I'm eating. I'm older. I'm younger. I'm growing. I'm shrinking. I'm dead. I'm awake. I'm saving.
The zoo gets cleaned up in 30 seconds flat. There's a new restaurant in town. It opened this morning. It is located in the living room. It is run entirely by Marble, who has announced that today her name is not Marble. Tap Girl. Got it. Marble, Tap Girl, produces a very official-looking piece of paper. It is a menu. It has words on it. Some of those words are food. Pip sits down at the tiny table like a very important customer. Certainly. There is a kitchen inspection. There is a verdict. The spring rolls are not ready yet. And the super spicy? Way too spicy. Everyone agrees. Nobody finishes the super spicy. But the cafe remains open because Tap Girl is committed to her craft. At some point, Gramps wanders in. Tap Girl looks up. There was a moment of mutual recognition. I think he wants to be the chef, Clementine whispers. Tap Girl considers this. We don't need a chef. But Gramps is already moving toward the fridge. Pavlova. A pause. That's what I said. Nobody argues. Gramps retrieves the pavlova, delivers it to the customer, bows. Harry. The cafe is thriving. Keep watching, because the bath situation that comes next, it involves 100 burgers, a serious debt, and someone who absolutely refuses to get out. You have been warned. Bath time in the Pursworth house is never simple. Today, it involves Cosmo buying 100 imaginary burgers from a Bath-based restaurant run by Pip. Delicious. There, you've sold all your burgers. Pip holds up one paw. 100 burgers. Cosmo looks at the ceiling, then back at Pip. How can I have 100 burgers if I didn't buy them? There is no good answer to this question. Cosmo ends up doing dishes. The Bath restaurant has a strict no-credit policy. There's a tooth. A lost tooth.
$5 whole from the tooth fairy, sitting on the bedside table when the morning starts. Pip stares at it, turns it over, stares some more. Big cousin Indy has arrived. Indy is Clementine's sibling's eldest. Very cool, always knows what's happening. And together, they head out to investigate. The destination reveals itself slowly, magnificently, at the end of a very ordinary street. Giant bubbles. Pip stops, stares. The bubbles float past, enormous, shimmering, impossibly round. And then comes a question that lands right in the middle of all that wonder. Cosmo kneels down. Yeah, mate. Pip looks up. 6 weeks really is forever? The silence that follows is the loudest thing that has happened all day. Cosmo doesn't say it isn't, because to a small cat standing in front of giant bubbles on a warm afternoon, 6 weeks really is forever, and the best parents know when to just sit with that. I don't want to leave either. They watch the bubbles float away, together, just for a little while longer. But here's the thing about this family. Just when things feel the heaviest, something happens. Something small. Something that changes everything. Because Marble is still in the garden, with the mud, and she has a plan. The face paint stole. Every single year. And every single year, the person running it, today it's Clementine's friend Rosie, who has shown up with 11 colors and absolute uncertainty, stands in front of the table and has the same thought. Marble looks at her very seriously. So you have to do it. There is a long pause. Okay. Rosie picks up the brush. She is not very good at it, but she does it anyway.
And a small orange cat with a slightly uneven butterfly on her cheek walks away, looking like she just won everything. The cone situation has been ongoing for 3 days. Pip's cousin Muffin, very small, very round, very much wearing a medical cone, has announced that the cone may be permanent. Marble, back to being Marble for this moment, tilts her head. What if we flip it? A pause. And so the cone gets repositioned, and Muffin in a flipped cone looks, depending on the angle, like a wedding veil, or a traffic cone, or a very dramatic ballerina. This is the single greatest game ever invented. The final act of this particular Sunday begins, as so many things do, with someone running across the garden and something going very, very wrong. There is a magpie. There has always been a magpie. It lives near the side gate, and it has opinions. Pip does not want to go past the magpie. Pip also does not want Cosmo to leave for 6 weeks. These two feelings sit side by side, tangled together, the way feelings often do. The magpie watches from the fence. Even the magpie seems to understand. But then, because this is the Pursworth family, and the Pursworth family does not stay sad for long, Gramps appears at the back door. He is holding something. It is a map, a large, very serious puzzle map of the world. Right, he says, setting it on the table. Blue bits here, red bits here. Everyone crowds around.
Marble immediately puts a piece in the wrong place. Pip finds 3 pieces that don't fit anywhere. Clementine quietly puts several correct pieces in place without saying anything. A pause. Wait, Gramps squints. He points to the gap, a very specific, very small gap. New Zealand. New Zealand is always missing.
This has happened before. This will happen again. Gramps stands up very seriously. Nobody tries to stop him. This is entirely reasonable. And as the afternoon stretches long and the mud dries in Marble's jar, and the last of the imaginary burgers are paid for in imaginary dishwashing, and the Tooth Fairy's $5 become a memory of bubbles and wonder, the Pursworth family does what it always does. It keeps going. It stays loud. It stays warm. It finds the pavlova in the fridge. It makes up names at fancy restaurants and forgets to turn off the tap, and invents games where cones become wedding veils. Because that's what this family does. That's the world of Kitty. And if you made it all the way here, drop a comment. Tell us which moment was your favorite. Was it the curried sausages, the 100 bought burgers, or Marble in the mud? We'll see you in the next one.